Well, welcome. Thank you all for being here. I know you guys have a busy schedule that you keep, but we really appreciate each and every one of you for coming out here and partaking in this really neat event that we have to deploy our electric buses. So we really appreciate everyone being here and the support that you guys give to Citibus. My name is Chris Mandrell. I am the general manager of Citibus. And really the purpose of this press conference is to officially unveil and deploy our two Proterra fully battery electric buses that we received a couple months ago. These buses are built by Proterra, and we'll hear from a Proterra representative in here in a few minutes and talk a little bit more about the buses and the specs and all the information about those. So a little bit about the background on this purchase is back in 2017, FTA, the Federal Transit Administration, has a grant program called the Lower No Emission Grant Program, and we submitted a grant proposal through that. It's a discretionary grant, or a competitive grant. So we submitted a grant proposal through that, and we are awarded funding through that grant proposal. And we are one of 5 transit agencies in the state of Texas to be awarded funding through that program. And so we're really excited about being one of those 5. And of those 5, 3 of those are the major metropolitan areas. So we're one of the 2 urban systems that have been awarded funding through this program. So we're really excited to be in that eclectic group of receiving funding for these buses. The funding again was provided by the Federal Transit Administration. The local share part of that was provided by TxDOT in the form of transportation development credits. So we do want to say thank you to FTA for their support and their commitment to Citibus and what we do here, and to TxDOT for providing us with those transportation development credits so we can make this grant fully funded, and we make this the reality of getting these buses come true. So on behalf of Citibus, we are thrilled to be able to fully deploy these 2 electric buses. The process, again, like I said, it started about 2 years ago. So this is, we submitted the grant about May of 2017, and this has been from submitting the grant through the production of the buses and to getting them on site a couple months ago, and the building of the chargers at our facility has taken about 2 years now. So we're really excited to get these out to the public and allow the public to see and be a part of what we've been a part of the last couple years in getting these buses out on the streets. The really neat thing about these buses is the technology that goes into these is extremely cutting edge. So everything that I've been kind of talking to a lot of folks about these, and these are really computers, like really high-tech computers on wheels. There's constantly information that's being sent back to Proterra as these buses are in service, and so it's just a big computer on wheels. And so it's really a neat thing for us to be a part of that cutting-edge technology. And our folks back at Citibus and the mechanics and technicians are really excited about getting involved with these, because they're something that they've not done in the past. So it's kind of neat for them to experience something different than the conventional diesel bus. So in our fleet, we have some hybrid electric vehicles that we have purchased over to beginning in 2011, which are a combination of battery electric and diesel. But these are the first buses of their kind in our fleet that are 100% fully battery electric. And so we at Citibus, we are committed to continue to find ways that we can continue to purchase vehicles that will be more eco-friendly and that we can reduce our carbon footprint in the community. And that's a big direction that the Federal Transit Administration is going with their grant programs, is to continue funding programs and buses that are being more eco-friendly and reducing their carbon footprint. So we're committed to continue to find ways to be there and be competitive with those grants with FTA. As stated previously, these buses are manufactured by Proterra. The really neat thing about Proterra is the only bus that they do manufacture is a battery electric bus. So they've focused on one thing. We believe that they've done really well at manufacturing that bus, and they have a lot of expertise and engineers specifically to batteries that they've got there. So we really feel comfortable with the product they're putting out, and they're right there at the forefront of the battery powered buses. So we do want to thank Proterra for their commitment and their partnership as we deploy these buses and get these into service. We do thank them for the continued support that they will give us through the life of these buses. The useful life of these is 14 years, so we expect to have these on the road for a minimum of 14 years and probably longer than that. So we're very thankful for Proterra and their relationship and partnership that we have with them. So with that said, I'm going to introduce to you Dale Hill. He is the founder of Proterra, and he can talk a little bit more or go more in depth about the specifics of the company and the specs of these particular buses and give you guys a little bit more information about each individual bus. So, Dale?
Well, what an awesome experience to be here this morning and to feel the excitement in the air as Lubbock becomes the third city in Texas to deploy battery electric buses. You can just, when you walk in the agency there, you feel the excitement to be doing something different. It's an exciting day for me too, because Lubbock has a special place in my heart. My wife and I attended college in Texas, raised our family in Texas, and when the kids were grown, we moved to Colorado. When my wife retired, I said, well, we need to be back. You need to be doing chauffeur duty back for our 4 grandkids in the Braunfels. So we spent the school year for the last number of years in the Braunfels and the summers in Texas. I share that with you because that means 4 times a year we drive through Lubbock going back and forth, and we always stop for a meal or to spend the night here. On one of those trips, I decided to stop by and talk to then General Manager Maurice Pearl and share with him about battery electric buses. He listened to me, he smiled, and he said, man, that sounds great. I'd love to have battery electric buses, but we can't even afford diesel buses. We're kind of, funding-wise, we're kind of on the backside of the desert here when it comes to Texas funding. And I said, well, I know that because I drove around campus last night and I saw some 16-year-old buses that you bought from Cleveland, Ohio when they finished their 12-year design life, and you've been driving those. And I want to stop here and tell Chris what a great maintenance team he has to be able to keep these 16-year-old buses running. That says a lot for the talent base that you have here in Lubbock. So anyway, when Maurice said, I'd like to buy your buses, but we don't have any money, that was like throwing a bone to a dog. I said, well, if you want battery buses, I'll help you find money. And I explained to him several of the grant programs that are available, and that led to the 2017. And I said, historically, 60% of all the funding the Federal Transit Administration has given out for zero-emission bus deployment has gone to customers of Proterra, because the FTA had actually asked me back in 2004 to start Proterra, and they gave us some funding to do that. And of all the hundreds of millions of dollars they spent on research and development, the only product that's gone to commercialization is this bus you see sitting back here. So anyhow, we worked with the folks here, and they received the $1.75 million grant. That wasn't quite enough money to buy 2 buses and 2 charge stations, but we put our pencil in the pencil sharpener and collectively working together. So the significant thing about this deployment here in Lubbock is it's a 1-for-1 replacement of diesel buses. Many times the larger cities, they'll buy several buses and they'll run a pilot program for a year or so. This is a 1-for-1 deployment. So let me tell you a little bit about this paradigm shift that's going on literally around the world on battery electric buses. It's a paradigm shift that's moving so fast. Outside of the computer and the cell phone industry, I don't know too many industries that experience that. Since Proterra was the first manufacturer of battery electric buses, since we were totally dedicated to battery electric buses and we were a startup company, the history of Proterra pretty much is the history of the battery electric bus business. Let me explain. 2 years ago, we had 125 employees, 2 years ago. Today, we've got over 575 employees. We have 2 assembly plants, one in Greenville, South Carolina, one in the Los Angeles area. Our battery manufacturing and battery test lab, battery engineering is in the Bay Area of California. right across the bay from Tesla. Anybody that was a manager for Tesla 3 years ago works for Proterra today. So that's a real compliment to our management team and what we've been able to accomplish. We've sold over 700 buses. We've delivered well over half of those 700 buses. They're deployed in we have, with the deployed buses and the orders that we have in-house, we're well over 90 customers in 42 states, including Alaska and Hawaii. We got 3 orders in Alaska, believe it or not, and in 2 Canadian provinces. So we've got over 9 million accumulated fleet miles on those buses. And more importantly, we have saved or eliminated 50 million tons of CO2 emissions with those buses that are out there. So that's what's going on with just a little peek at what's going on. This bus will go about 150 miles on a single charge, which is pretty much a day's service. We've driven the next generation of this bus. We drove it 1,102 miles on a single charge at the Navistar test track a couple of years ago. That bus in revenue service is 250 to 300 miles, and that'll take care of about 98% of all the buses out there in the United States. So that gives you a little peek through the window where we're going and how fast we're going there. And you're one of the pioneers in that, so don't forget that. 3rd deployment in the state of Texas. So as I close up here, let's look forward a little bit into the future. I want you to follow these buses and see what they're accomplishing. Ride on them, see how quiet they are. And somebody said to me a while ago, when you can hear the air conditioner over the engine, then you know it's a pretty quiet bus. But it's not about sustainability. I tell people, I'm here to talk to you about battery buses. I'm not here to talk to you about sustainability, because we're going to give you that for free. We're here to talk about saving money. A diesel bus, Chris will spend about $400,000 per bus on diesel fuel in the 12-year design life of that bus. This bus will use about $100,000 worth of electricity, so chalk up about $300,000 savings there. You're going to save another $150,000 in maintenance. A diesel engine has 3,200 parts. Electric motor has 4, a rotor, a stator, and 2 bearings. Those are operating costs, and those come out of your pocket. The capital costs, the buses cost more, but the federal government and the state helps subsidize that. Operating costs come out of your pocket. So the other kicker that we give you, this bus body is composite. It's made like 2 bolt holes bonded together because it's lighter, it's stronger, and it's been tested. And in the wintertime when you put salt on the roads, it's impervious to salt and mag chloride. But the significant thing is that takes that from a 12-year life bus to at least a 16 to 18-year life bus. So that helps you spread the peanut butter a little further on that piece of bread. Take those savings and help renew the oldest bus fleet that I'm aware of in the United States. And so that's what we bring to the table. I want to thank you for the privilege of being here, and I want to welcome you to the Proterra family.
So one thing I did fail to mention when we got started is this bus behind me and bus to the left, they are both running right now, but that's just how quiet they are. You can hear the HVAC system on top, but to actually hear the bus running, it's virtually impossible. So with that, I'm going to welcome Councilman Jeff Griffith up here for a few words, and then we will close it down. Jeff, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Chris. This is a great day. I've got several of my colleagues from our city council here, also several colleagues. I'm the chairman of the Metropolitan Planning Organization, our transportation policy panel for the metro area. I think I can speak for both of those bodies in saying thank you, Citibus. Chris, thank you for getting the grant money. Thank you to the state and the feds for helping us. Mr. Hill, thank you for being here. We're excited you're in Lubbock today. Welcome. This is marvelous, and yes, they are running, and the loudest thing you'll hear is the air conditioner. I'd also like to thank you for delivering on time before school starts. Perfect timing for the fall semester. Everybody needs to get in there. They're very comfortable seats. And by the way, they've got Texas Tech Red Raider logos on it. So let's go enjoy. Thank y'all for being here. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Thank you very much. So as we wrap up, I do want to just reiterate again, thank you guys, everyone, for being here. We really appreciate you guys taking the time to be here as we deploy these buses. It's a really exciting time to be at Citibus and be a part of Citibus, and it's always a great day to be a citizen and live in the city of Lubbock. So we do appreciate you guys being here.